come after Z. We are from X, Y and Z. Y is of course millennials also. So after Z, what will happen and what will be the condition of water, that still has to be anticipated and that still has to be worked upon. So coming on to few of the slides we have prepared. So this is basically from the department EPD, Engineering Planning and Development. So as you can see that if you start from the basic human composition of body, so our brain also consists of almost 73% of water. So next time when somebody says that your brain is full of bhusa and all, it is not like that. There is some water in it also. So that is kept. Blood, as you see, that is a basic fluid, that is a fluid which gives life to us. That also has got 95% of water. So this basically signifies that our body consists of more than 60 to 70% of water. That is the significance of water when it comes to our human body. So that importance can never be, I can say, neglected, or that cannot be belittled. We are there because of water. We all consist of water only. So that is very important point which I want to make here. Next point, you see human migrations. It is not that it has started today. Since time immemorial, ancient histories, if you go for Indus Valley civilizations, Mesopotamia civilization, Indus Valley civilizations, Nile River civilizations, all the civilizations, invariably you will see a common point that all the civilizations came on the banks of big rivers. Reason being, they all understood the importance of river. River is the only cause which will provide them a sustainable livelihood if they have to go for any business, any manufacturing, any commerce, any trade. Not now. If you go for say, if you rewind time by another 100 years, trade was only through this sea routes only or water routes only. So that is the connectivity which water has given to us. So not only being an important part of our human body, at the same time it has given everything to us to increase the commerce, to increase the business, to increase the industrialization and overall upliftment of the whole economy or whole society rather, I should say. And people have realized that even on that time, this guy was a mathematician, he was a polymath, he was a painter, Mona Lisa painting was done by him only. So see how people have realized the importance of water, not now, we are in 2023. So 400 years back also people have realized the importance of it. It was always there. Even Akbar, he has shifted his capital from Fatehpur Sikri to Delhi because Jamuna was near to it. So that realization was there, that importance, the sense of understanding the importance was there, that nothing is possible, no economical growth is possible unless we have got water in our vicinity. Water is there, water has to be there for any growth. No growth is possible unless we have got a sustainable water source besides us. Everybody has understood this, and from time immemorial this practice is continuing. So you see civilization has used, as I told, civilization has used it for agriculture, for transport, for commerce. Here you see these nomads, they are moving towards the bank of rivers, of course, so that they can have a sustainable livelihood. They can use it for many of their purposes to generate their daily use requirement, and they have to grow anyway. Any civilization will grow only when there is an industrialization, or there will be commerce, or there will be something which they will generate for general use, on exchange of which they can generate some revenue. That is the way any civilization progresses and reach to height of pinnacle, whatever you say. That is the only way it moves. So overall, water is the fundamental source of human life, and it has played a crucial role in shaping our life. So I don't think nobody can challenge this statement. If somebody has to say anything, they can, but hopefully I am very, very correct here. So no challenge is expected. Okay. Next one. See, most of the things Dr. Sir has told, so I will not go much into the data, but if you see the photograph, there is a shape of a round shaped thing, which is our earth, of course, and you see there that our earth is 70% of the portion is covered by water, and a small molecule, it denotes the drinking water. So that is the ratio. Somebody will say only 2% is there, or throw numerical analysis or say numerical data or you can do. But I thought that this pictorial representation can make my communication better. So this is the thing, average rainfall 4%. If you talk about India, we have got only 4% of world water resources, whereas our population is 18% of the world. So that scarcity is there. 18% of the population depending on the 4% of freshwater resources definitely creates a scarcity. There is no mathematics involved in okay. And the other one, if you see, this is a heat map of water scarcity that I should see. You see some many countries in Africa, they are going through water stress. This particular map is of 2004. So the situation has worsened now. So many of the countries which are not in a danger zone now in 2004, after say 18 or 19 years as of now, if you consider now, so 70% of this map also is being converted into red zone. So why is this happening? That we need to understand. What are the countermeasures we need to take? And it is all available with us. It will all come with us. Every individual, any individual or anyone, there is a very famous line that change starts from one. The power of one. This was said by Mahatma Gandhi, of course. So unless one takes a step and believes that I can bring a change, that change will eventually come. So everybody here, or people outside, or whoever you interact, if they contribute to the best of their extent or best of their capacity and energy, definitely changes are there to come. And we are literally sitting on a ticking atom bomb, which is going to explode anytime. See, initially also war were fought. Now you know war are being fought for oil and gas in Iraq, Iran and Middle East countries and all. The time will come, but it has been predicted on mathematical models of course, that in coming centuries these wars will be on water. That much of crises are going to be there, because at the rate we are depleting our natural resources, definitely it is leading towards that only. There are conscious responsibilities, there are responsibilities some of the corporates are taking or the people are taking on their individual levels, but is it enough? A very small story before coming here was, I was talking to Santosh Singh, he is one of our colleagues. So he told me a very interesting story. Everybody would have thought about a famous adage, a famous saying, and everybody would have read that story also in their elementary school, about a thirsty crow. He was thirsty, he was not getting water, so he got a pitcher which was full of water, which was having water at the bottom level. So he took all efforts, put some people or some solid substances into it, and the water eventually come to the top. And he took drank that water, and finally he was attracted. So this story, I don't know, when we were small, when we were kids, this story was basically to teach us that we should take effort in any circumstances for results. We should not be negative, or there is always a ray of hope when we found something which seems to be impossible. So people should not lose hope. That was the moral story that time. But I interpret this in a different way. When a crow who doesn't have brain, of course basic instincts are there with every animal, but he can think that the crisis has come and now I have to take a step. So why not we, human beings, considering ourselves in the highest in the whole hierarchy of evolution of living organisms, can think of that. So that time has come when a crow can think, the same thinking has to come to us also. Somehow we have closed our eyes, or we are thinking that things will pass on its own and things will be alright. There will be some technologies coming wherein water will not be required. We have heard that people or some cosmonauts, when they go to space and all, they don't require water at all. But I don't know in what condition they stay. We are not astronauts, we are staying in Earth. So let us be normal, that is more important to us. This also, of course, he has said, but I need to elaborate it once more. That the water, the consumption pattern of water, if I have to say, out of 100%, of course, 9% of the water goes for energy, generation of energy, that is power plants and all. Another 8% goes for manufacturing, and the major part, 83%, goes for agriculture. So this is a big thing. See, power is very much essential for our economical growth. All the industries are power intensive, so power has to be there always. But now I talk about power because I am from Balco, so I think it is more effective. I talk about the data we have at Balco. At Balco, daily we are consuming almost 89, almost a lakh cubic meter of water. That means in a year it is almost 36.5 billion cubic meter. So this much of water is a big thing. Now first of all, why this much of water is required and what can be done to reduce it? There are several initiatives being taken by us. In fact, Anjali Kaur Madam is aware and she is heading that ESG drive also here. That by 2050 we will be water positive. Of course, the journey is not very easy, but we are striving on it and definitely will yield results. But yielding results or saying a final thing to come doesn't come on its own. There has to be proper meticulous planning for that. So that planning also we are having, that also will come on by now. But still these numbers of 89,000 in power plant is huge. There are several factors contributing to it. In fact, we have tied up with TUB who has given us a roadmap that by 2030 will be water positive. Now, what is positivity, what is credit, what is debit, I will come next. Because that is a very important point to understand. If you really want to contribute and if you want to make Balco a water positive entity, definitely we should have a very clear understanding of positivity, neutrality, our credit and debit, of course. When we say debit, just normal sense, I am asking, debit is what? In mathematical sense also we can say, people take debit from people. Say I am taking 100 rupees from a person, it's a debit. And for him it's a credit. I don't know, right or wrong. So this is there, we are taking 1 lakh cubic meter of water every day from a nearby reservoir or dam. Our responsibility now is to reduce it and reach to an extent that what we will give back to the society is almost equal to 1 lakh cubic meter or more than that. Once it is more than 1 lakh cubic meter, we are positive. If it equates, that means we are neutral. A Herculean task. I don't think it's very easy. But yes, there is a roadmap for that also, and we all need to achieve it. The whole organization, it is in Vedanta's goal also, and we have published it in letter spirit that we are going to achieve it. It is not only the case of water, it is in case of the greenhouse emissions also, it is in case of zero liquid discharge also. So big plans are there, and I am not saying that these plans are on the papers only. The way it's being driven, the center of excellence or community of practices we have followed, it is primarily their responsibility. I am not saying it's only their responsibility because we all are part of it, and we in our individual capacity are community of practice also. Everybody associated with us. Everyone's responsibility because this is a collective thing. It is not some individual will do something and it will yield a result which will be beneficial to him only. Or as I said, power of one is very important, but that power of one has to percolate, that has to cascade to another in a sequence or series, so that everybody get associated with that noble cause, and ultimately we reach to at least a mentality wherein everybody contributes. So that is the basic thing which I am trying to communicate here. So coming on to my slides. So these are basically the data. If you say about household importance, for drinking we use 25% of water, for sanitization another 35%, for hygiene 20%, for cooking 20%. I don't know what requires to be done for reducing it. There are methods, we will talk about that also. and of course there I will be requiring participation from you people also, so that it basically gets imbibed into you. When you go, you percolate it down, you cascade it down, you talk to the people, so that this community becomes larger and larger, and for a greater cause, for a greater good of society, it works. So there you must have seen many triangles, Maslow's triangle, Hinday's triangle. Some triangle we also try to construct. How far relevant it is, you are the better judge. See, groundwater toll, as Mr. Srivastava has told, that mostly we are dependent on groundwater because that is available in plenty. Almost 80% of the water used in India is through groundwater only. Dig a borewell, most of the farmers, they have free electricity, you will get free electricity, and even for borewell also it's on a subsidized rate. So they go on digging water, whether it's utilized or that optimum utilization is there or not, nobody is there to care for that. They are not wrong, but it's okay for them. That is the most convenient thing for them to do. Next is, once this happens, definitely our groundwater table will deplete, and this will result into poor management of water. Then once that scarcity is there, the prices or the charges on water will increase. So again, a sort of crisis will get created. Third is climate change. This is a big concern. See, this is the repercussions of what we have done. We have depleted the water table. Now we don't have water, and this cycle is not that. It's more or less, I will say that our universe also work on lean manufacturing system. If suppose somewhere someone is not doing a job, definitely it will have repercussions on other things also. When we say that groundwater is depleted, definitely it will have impact on climatic change also. Where water is not there, definitely if water is not there, afforestation will be there. We will not have enough of forest, trees will dry. Once that will happen, rainfall will be reduced. So all these things will happen, and once that is reduced, our global warming will start. Once that global warming will start, that our industries, they are working on their own pace, that chlorofluorocarbon and what you say gases, they will go and hit the ozone. There will be some holes over there. So all these things will start. Glacier will melt. Cities near to the coastal cities, near to the coastal areas of sea and all, they will get submerged. So this is a whole big process. Now you see, here also I am realizing, I came here 3 years back. In this month, most of the time temperature was not so high. But now I am realizing it is there. Now the temperature must be something around, today is an exception, but normally it is 30-35 degree and all. But way back in 2020 when I came here, this time of year the temperature was not more than 27-25 degree. So it is so rapid. Although we are blessed that we are staying in a location which is full of forest. Lot of afforestation is there. Once we start from that barrier, I understand for another 200-300 kilometers there is forest only. So this all contributes to precipitation and at the same time bringing down temperature and supporting flora and fauna of that area. So we are blessed that way that we are in Korba, but other people are not so fortunate, I understand. Finally, once this happens, our water will become contaminated. This contaminated water will lead to many diseases and waterborne diseases. As you see, I think I am not exactly remembering the data, but 1 person out of every 10 is suffering from waterborne diseases, and it's one like this typhoid, cholera, all these things happens. Only the privileged one who can pay for it, who can pay for distill or who can pay for mineral water, have the privilege of using it. Others who are not into that category, not that privileged, have to use those water only. So it's our moral obligation and responsibility that we should conserve water, and we should make ensure that for our fellow humankind we should provide that water also. What we are taking, that has to be for them also. Finally, water scarcity. Now here I am making a point. Here is the point, water scarcity. We did everything wrong. We thought we are doing on our part, nothing is going to happen. If I am going through the data, millions of water is there in ground, in overground in ponds and all. But finally what has happened, it has led to a water scarcity only. And this is going on very fast. We know our population is almost 140 crores. The world population is something around 800 crores. And they predict that by 2025, all, I will say the person sitting here maybe some 50-60 number, this room, 30% of it, will not have a safe drinking water with them. We are also that. Maybe we are at Balco and we have got a system, but if I go for a general public and I am addressing this gathering, so that will be the case. That is the case, that 30% of people there are deprived of safe drinking water. This is a fact, and this fact needs to be changed. How we will change it, that is another thing. Because what I am saying is, I am trying to put a very dark picture in front of you. What needs to be done for that Dr. Mishra is there or Dr. Lee is there, and whatever my limited knowledge I can definitely share. See this condition, red, blue, yellow and all. This is the western parts. It's almost dry. This Rajasthan, Gujarat, some parts of Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra. That way our Odisha and this part. Northeast is blessed. They are having plenty of water. But they don't have much source of industrialization or the sort of industrialization is not there. I am trying to say, this is the situation. I am not trying to make you fearful or be very much pessimistic about the situations. What we can do now, like the Pro did, to take the water out of it. Now the time has come. We should all take actions to best of our capacity. What Vedanta or Balco in a whole can take has already been taken. As we have already told, I think, by 2050 we have a goal of water positivity, not neutrality. I am saying positivity. We will give water more to the society than what we are consuming or what we are debiting. And there is a clear-cut roadmap of that also. That I am going to on to the next slide. See these people. What do you think? They are happy. We all get water in our tap every time. Almost we have a tank installed on our rooftop. Whenever you open, just imagine a condition you have completed your food and then you went for basin to wash your hands and water is not there. How much annoyed you are? At least 20 times you will shout. You may not be very vocal, but definitely it comes in your mind. Then you will remember the township people, not in a very good sense. So that happens. You see here what he say about the water drop. This is a classic case. Chennai, 2015, 2016. There was a heavy flood. The whole city was submerged. There was rescue operation from army, air force. People were there on the top of the roof shouting to save them. 3-4 days they were there, stuck up on the rooftop. They finally, some choppers came. It was like a heroic deeds. People came, they put some ladders down and those people were rescued. Some people lost their lives also. This is what we are talking about, people. But many livestock, many like animals, all those things, nobody was there to save them. The whole ecology, the whole ecosystem got disturbed during that time. And the same city, after 3 years, 2019, has faced a severe drought. It was literally parched. Nothing was there. They don't have water. Water was coming through tankers or through this, what do you call, malgadis, this goods train. Water is coming through that. And why does that happen? A city which has undergone a flood, worst flood in a century, is facing the same. He is facing a situation of drought in another 3 years. What went wrong? We do analysis, we do all those things, but this has happened because we don't know how to conserve, or we don't want to conserve. We think that things will go on its own. We are not working like that through. That time has come. How could people? What has to come up? That was not there. They have got plenty of ponds, they have got plenty of water recharging structures, but they thought that anyway, when we have so much of water coming every year, 3 years of some minimal rain has resulted in a big drought. They have to declare that there is no water in Chennai. And this is not the case with third world countries or developing countries. This is the case with Cape Town, this is the case with Mexico, this is the case with Los Angeles. Everywhere the situation is there. So this is a global crisis, and the boundaries are not limited to India alone. There are many forums in which these are being discussed, not only in India, but other countries also. Many such organizations have been formed. But yes, what is there, what we can do, we should do. And our organization are happy that has got a very clear vision, a very clear roadmap. If achieved, at least we on our part are honest in delivering, and we should do our part. Maybe seeing our part, others will get motivated towards discharging their responsibilities and duties. That's quite possible. So let us be not first, because there are some companies, they already did it. If I talk about Hindustan Zinc is 5 times water positive. Hindustan Zinc is in Rajasthan, so they have water crisis by virtue of its location. Water is not there. They were procuring water from tankers and all. And such a big organization or such a big establishment to be run on tanker water is almost, I would say, impractical way of doing things. So what they thought, a very innovative solution. Udaipur's sewerage system was coming to a point, a sewerage system. So all the sewerage of the plant of the city was coming to a particular point. So through public-private partnership, they constructed a water treatment plant, and they are expecting now. It was done in 3 phases. First phase was of 20 mld, then 15, and then more. Now it is 60 mld, and that is self-sufficient for running the plant of Hindustan Zinc. It's a big achievement. They are not taking water from any natural resources. Water is being resourced, and that is a real credit. This water eventually, if not done, would have gone to the drains. First thing is that you are done with the good to the society. Secondly, you have used the water which was, you have not used natural resources. That itself is a big thing. And in the process, you have become water positive 5 times. So those challenges are there with us also. If I talk about here we are taking, as I told, 1 lakh cubic meter of water. So here we are working on few ways, or not rather ways, that few techniques we are using, or few categories we are divided. First is, let us work on our operation parameters, or let us increase our operational excellence. I think out of 28 MCM, every time or every year we are using 3 MCM water only due to leakage. So that is why Srijana has defined a very beautiful program that let us identify the leakage as much as possible. Let us reward the person who has done it, because that is the most easiest and the best way, and on which we can act immediately, and that of course is yielding results. First day itself we have got 10 or 15 numbers of leakage reports, and one report Santosh was showing me, a wonderful thing to happen. It is for us, like safety and all, what we do. When we see any unsafe act, unsafe condition, we stand against, or we at least, what we say, roko and all. So those things have to come for water also. That pinch or that sense of what I say has to come to the people. Should come to the people also. That losing of water is same as that of a risk of safety. This is such a precious commodity. What sir was telling, that a famous law of physics, law of transformation, I think, that energy never changes shape, energy never gets destroyed, it changes shape only. So when it is changing shape, we should not go to the gutter. It should change shape and come to us again, so that we can recycle it. And water is the best thing which can be recycled. What is the point in again drinking water? And when we say, one point always come to our discussion, that some of the places there have got abundance of water. Some places are really deprived of it. If I talk about Korba, if I talk about Rajasthan, if I talk about Telangana, if I talk about Tamil Nadu, it is a contrast. Korba, they have got plenty of water. So what is the point in saving water here? That is the point. But you see, if you save water, you don't require that big bridge, that big dam over there. That dam is not a natural thing to happen. That dam is basically for the flourishment of flora and fauna there. That is a natural ecosystem. That whole biodiversity has got disturbed because of that. So that even if water is there in abundance in a place or not, this should not be used, because in the process we consume a lot of energy. For bringing water from that reservoir also requires an energy. We have power plant to run. That power plant again use coal. That generates emission, SOx, and all you see. So these all things should come down, and it has to be minimized to an extent that is not required, or let us recycle it to an extent possible and become water positive. That is one point I am trying to do. So this is our roadmap for water positivity. That let us reduce water use. I think you people are listening. यार ये मुझे परेशान करता है, कोई सुन रहा है कि नहीं सुन रहा है. So water reduction. So this is very important, because things start with us. First you correct your own things. When you go, हाँ हाँ बिल्कुल. So first thing is that let us start from our own. Let us correct our own systems. जब आपके गाड़ी में से वो ऑयल लीक करता है तो आप तुरंत रुकते हो ना, because oil is costly. You stop your vehicle, correct it, and then make a move. But when it happens in case of water, I don't think many of people care. Reason being, we think it to be a priceless. If I say that is that goes into more upper meaning. People think that it is worthless. It is possible. It is in abundance. Why do think about that? There is plenty of water. Even if some water goes, what harm does that make? But that approach is not correct, and that approach has got a serious repercussions which we have to face in future. As I told, wars will be there on. I am not trying to make a point where very aggressive, but these things are there, and these I am not saying. My knowledge is also limited to YouTube, Internet Explorer, and all. I am not a big scholar, but this is what I collected from them. So you see, water recycle and reuse. Here also we are doing a lot of things. We have got a pump houses, we have a cooling water system, we have a recycling water system, wherein water is generated, whatever water generated, we are using it to an extent possible for recycling. Then wastewater treatment, it is there in our plant also. We have got ETP. ETP is nothing but whatever process effluent comes from our plant, we take it, we process it, and then we send it again. In the process, there are some percentage of losses. But of course, it is better than just leaving it out, because leaving it out will not only be useful to us, but create problem outside also. Because this hard water contains many minerals, toxic things which should not be idly discharged outside. So we have that philosophy, and we are working on ZLD, zero liquid discharge. No water from the plant should go up. That is our motto, and that is what Mr. ASP aspires for, and we are working on it. What is it? So it's a big thing, because his aspiration is that even the strong water, try to understand, even the strong water coming in our complex should not go out. That has to first come into a collection pit, and from there, through controlled way, it should be discharged. Big thing never happened here or anywhere, I understand, but statutory norms for government are becoming stringent day by day, so we have to abide by that, and we are working on it. So this we have collaborated with TUV, because they are the experts, and they have given us a clear-cut roadmap that how are we going to achieve it. This I am saying because we people here are real comrades who are going to achieve it. And once we are out of this hall, I particularly have a request with you people that go on preaching it. Not preaching exactly, but go on telling this, so that this whole hall become or gets quadrupled, or many times many fold should increase, and all the people should be aligned for this noble cause. That is our intention, and for that I think I am here particularly. You see, the first stage would be, one thing is very clear, and many places you would have heard, what you can measure or you can achieve. So first let's go for measuring. For that Ashish has got almost 100 numbers of water meter, and he is installing it on the pipelines. So at least we get to understand that how much water is being used in this department. If it is more, we can caution them. If it is less, wonderful. Thank you very much. And ensuring maximum water utilization at Gateway, creating a positive footprint, enabling communities access to water and climate smart agriculture. This I came to know from Monica madam. Are you there? She was left, I think. So they have been doing fantastic job over there. They are working for communities. Until now they have achieved almost 1.5 lakh cubic meter of storage capacity. So it is being done using weir, like when water is there, they will create a weir, or say check dam, or in easy terms they will create an obstruction to the river, to the flow, maybe Nalanda. So whatever the downstream is there, that can be used for irrigation purpose, that can be used for any other purpose of utility. Otherwise this water would have flown. They have created many holes, they have gone for drip irrigation. The earlier irrigation process, the conventional irrigation process in which lot of water was getting consumed, through drip irrigation it was controlled to a greater extent. I can say 30 to 40% of water consumption got reduced if you go for drip water. Of course, crop also plays a very important role in that. If you go for paddy cultivation, that has to do only some water. That's a different thing. But let us focus on such crops which require really less water, and in the process we are just throwing water on it of not of much use, and in many cases detrimentally. To come to the point next. See here, I think Anjali madam, you have to. I think I am correct because this is your slide. I think so. This is our roadmap. So everybody, I would like to understand this. There are some data involved in that, and it really takes time to process data. Everybody's hard disk is not 15 to 20 GB, so sometimes it hangs up. But try to understand. So we are taking 28 MCM of water every year from the nearby sources for our power plant and other this matter. So this is our plan, that we will use 30% of renewable energy. By this, our water intake will be reduced by 30%. Then we will do monthly audit, proactive monitoring, leakage arresting and all. So by adopting this only, we can achieve 50% of our target. That is 14%, by 14 MCM. That 28 MCM will become 14 MCM by using this particular initiative. Then comes recycling. Recycling is very important because once water is in process, it comes to us again in our UTP, RO, and many other processing systems. So here also we will be working like cooling tower is a big finance. I think cooling tower is a major issue, but TUV has suggested something which seems to be quite impractical presently at this point of time. He has told us to use air condenser instead of liquid condensers, and they will be having some separate sort of arrangement over the cooling tower, so that mist and evaporations we can again condense and use it. The technologies are quite new and we are not ready for air conditioners. Maybe in our new plant we will be doing it.
एयर कंडीशन में सर दो प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है। एक तो वो बोल रहा है पर मेगावाट के लिए 35 लाख रुपए लगेगा, तो वो बहुत हाई है। और दूसरा हम पानी बचाएंगे लेकिन CO2 एमिशन बहुत हाई हो जाएगा। मुझे एयर कंडेंसर वाले उसमें जाएंगे, तो हम एक तरफ से पानी बचाएंगे लेकिन CO2 एमिशन उसमें कोई
But you see, challenges are always there. If I talk now, I can talk another for 15-20 minutes, but I don't know, I will decrease from the topic, I think. But there are such challenges we are not the new country which is facing, or new sort of professionals who are facing. Definitely challenges are there. No work is there without challenges. Different type of challenges will come all the time. Just think about Israel, just think of Japan, how they did. The whole country was devastated in World War. Still they could revive and become one of the biggest economy of world. They didn't have any purchase power. They didn't have anything. It was just not a miracle. It was through proper systematic technical process. What you call DMAG, what you call 5S, Kaizen, everything. I don't know up to what extent we are using it. But these are some of the tools in which we can reduce wastage to the extent possible. And whatever benefits we get by reducing the wastage has to be passed on to the customers. And definitely the results will come. So it is not into it. Definitely there will be some systems we need to explore. And in present scenario, if the suggestions given by them seems to be impractical, definitely other solutions will be there. We are not into R&D. We are a manufacturing organization typically. So we also have our limitations, but mind doesn't have any limitations. Nobody stops you from thinking. Have an idea, think over it. Maybe you can suggest something. You may not be able to materialize it, but thinking doesn't. Nobody stops you from thinking. Think of that. It is possible. And if we can achieve this will be a major breakthrough. Not only for power plant, but for the whole country or the whole world, I should say. I understand the whole world is suffering from this. Replacing condenser with air condenser is not an easy thing. It requires a lot of volume, and once you have already installed this, it is not possible at this point of time to change it. Maybe somebody will come and suggest us this, but practically we understand because we are on field. It is not to be done. Then what? There has to be some solution. We cannot. This is not the end of the journey. Let us think of something. How we can reduce your COC? If you talk about your COC was initially 5, you have gone up to 8. There are challenges in that also. If the same water gets circulating, it will get hardened. Salts and all will increase. That will have negative impact on your pipelines and the bottom of those things and all. But that is a challenge which you have to fight for. And that is the way changes will come. And that amount is not meager. That is a substantial amount, and that can bring a major change in our drive of water conservation. So there, I think we should walk. Although all the points are defined, but those technicalities or those type of involvement has to come, and we have to break our barriers. We have to think out of box, have a disruptive thinking. Then only these things are going to happen. Knowledge as on date is very easy to acquire, but interpreting it, but utilizing it requires another level of intelligence. So that has to be there. So this is a roadmap. You can see that the specific water consumption for power is 2.4. We are expanding it to bring down to 2.6. For filter it is 0.6. We want it to be bring down to 0.2. This is a collective responsibility. Everybody sitting here in one way or other can do it. I am not coming to the household now. If I say the distribution of water here coming, out of 1 lakh, 10 lakh cubic meter of water goes to township with 5,000 houses. So this figure itself is very high. The normal average consumption of water in India is 150 liters, but ours is more than 300. People are using it for gardening. I am not telling they are wrong, but this is a practice which needs to be changed. The mindset has to be changed. And we have to make people realize, yes, this is important. This is not a commodity which is finite. It is going to in one day or other. We are fortunate we are here. But if you go to Gujarat, they have the water grid. The locations where water is more, they have got a whole grid system from where water will be transferred to the areas where water is in scarcity. That also is there. So we can do that also. And water in coming year is going to be a big thing. When that scarcity will come, definitely those type of innovative solutions only will help us. We should be ready for that. Up to the capacity, I will say that again I am saying that we are in different departments, we have got different responsibilities, but yes, one can also bring change, maybe small, but those small steps added together can lead to a great change. I think I am closing now. This is what I received from Monica Madam. They are doing lot of things outside. This is the way they are harvesting water. And so this means they have accumulated almost 1.5 lakh cubic of water. But the potential is high. There are rivers all around our premises. We have a Dondo river, Gilgari river. So a lot of check dams we can do, and we can reach up to 6 lakh cubic meter also. That way we can have. Here I want everybody to participate. They are nearly on the verge of closure. So on the individual level, at your houses, just go through the slides, and I want everyone, somebody of you, to speak something on it. Is right, wrong, what can be done, or is this not the thing we are doing? Can we bring any improvement on this? First, you see, this guy is planting on the big on a time of a day when sun is on its peak. Is it okay? It should be ideally done on evening or at night. That time evaporation will not be there, losses will not be there. See, this plantation, many of us are interested in plantation. So let us mulch it all around so that it can retain water. Am I correct, sir? Yes. This fellow is washing, taking shower from last 1 hour. Why is he so happy? Washing or showering is not a luxury. Let us clean ourselves, that's enough. But he is doing it, and I understand many of the people think washing is a sort of relaxation. They bath, even I do something like this, sometimes like this. Wash for another continuous 30 minutes. So you should see what you are doing. Toilet I am not talking about. This nozzle for this hose, there has to be some aerators on it so that when you push that handle and all, limited amount of water should come. Some energy efficient washing machines. This is the thing which we tell to our children most of the time. They are brushing their teeth and tap is continuously on, which is not really required. That education has to go. And that will go if we continuously go on preaching this. If we continuously hammer them. Hammering says I am not doing just give a whack to just whack them, nothing like that. But yeah, every time you have to remind them. Unless it comes into their brain, yes, what is an important commodity, we are going to face problem in the future, and we don't have any right to raise this. This is a precious gift of God, which has to be used in an optimal way only.